The American Gothic by Grant Wood was made in 1930. Made during the time of the Great Depression, it gave a sense of hope to a desperate nation and is now one of the most iconic American pieces of art with many parodies. The painting is usually interpreted as a farmer man and woman in front of a rural Midwest home. Before we get to know the painting, it is important to learn about the artist Grant Wood. Before painting the American Gothic, Wood went to Europe to study and gain inspiration for his art. He was inspired by the old masters of Northern Europe and the elements of their paintings, including the clear blue sky like those usually painted above Christ or the Virgin Mary, the woman's elongated face which is similar to that of a Madonna, and the flat, finished surface which Wood created by smoothing the surface of the canvas with a razor blade. One of these European paintings that greatly influenced the American Gothic was Jan van Eyck's Arnolfini portrait, in which they were both paintings that contained mystery and were double portraits. When Wood came back from Europe, he realized that all the inspiration he needed could be found in his home state of Iowa. He found his inspiration for the American Gothic in August 1930 when he drove by an unusual farmhouse in Eldon, Iowa. The house had a strange and interesting feature, a high arched window in the Carpenter Gothic style. The design was based on Gothic architecture which originates from Europe, as opposed to a regular American farmhouse. The contrast and style of the house caught the artist's attention, which led to the painting of American Gothic, which is located at the Art Institute of Chicago. The painting is a portrait. In the painting, the repetition of vertical lines occurs multiple times throughout the painting. It can be seen in the planks of the frame house and its first floor windows, the lines in the overalls and the pitchfork, the man's coat, and the faces of the man and woman. The vertical lines are met with right angles which are made by the horizontal lines of the roof. The lines create symmetry as with the weather vanes on the house's roof and in the trees. There is a perfect imaginary perpendicular line that supports the man and the woman. Many shapes and patterns are repeated throughout the painting, including the shape of the pitchfork that is repeated in the overalls and the white shirt of the man, just as it is in the design of the Gothic window. Another example is the oval heads of the man and woman, which are also repeated, along with the pattern of the woman's apron and the drapes inside the Gothic window. This repetition unifies and balances the painting. The color throughout the painting is essentially monochromatic and has no intensity of color where even the red barn is faded, except for the black coat and dress of the figures. The painting lacks movement but is geometrically pieced together, which makes the painting balanced with the spaces equal on the sides and the middle of the figures. If you notice, the Gothic window resides between the man and woman. This Gothic window divides the painting almost perfectly in half, where both sides are almost perfectly balanced, though the man takes up slightly more space than the woman. You could easily draw a line down the middle of the painting. One side of the line is dominated by the man, the other side by the woman. The man and woman balance each other as visual elements. The man takes up slightly more of the painting, which could also perhaps reflect his dominant position as the male of the household, but still the two are granted about the same amount of equality as the most important visual elements. The woman's mostly dark dress is balanced by the white shirt visible in the man, including her white collar and also by her having more of the white house behind her. The man and woman also seem to mirror each other in their solemn facial expressions, with the man staring head-on at the viewer and the woman frowning as she stares off into the distance. The models, who are dressed in clothes dating from the 1890s, are Wood's sister, Nan Wood Graham, who was originally supposed to be Wood's mother, Haiti, and their dentist, Byron McKeeby. They pose in front of the house, which still exists and is a tourist attraction in Eldon, Iowa, called the Dibble House. The man and the woman were painted at separate times. They're usually seen as husband and wife, but are probably supposed to be seen as father and daughter. Though Wood himself never actually confirmed what the relationship is, his sister Nan told the people that the painting was of a father and daughter because she did not want to be thought of as a wife married to a man twice her age. Grant Wood's American Gothic helped Wood to become seen as the founder of a new painting style called regionalism, or American scene painting. Regionalism is usually defined as the movement that aggressively opposed European abstract art, preferring depictions of rural American subjects rendered in a representational style, and was usually identified with the Midwest of America rather than the East or West Coast. Wood also took inspiration from the work of the Northern Renaissance art of Europe and posed his figures in a rigid frontal arrangement that recalls Northern Renaissance art, also mimicking that movement's precise and close attention to detail. The house in the background style is called Carpenter's Gothic for its take on Victorian Gothic architecture and for which the painting is named after. The painting was a traditional oil painting on beaver board. Beaver board is a fiberboard building material, formed of wood fiber compressed into sheets. The painting probably would have been done in thin layers built up from dark to light with thousands of tiny brush marks, similar to the manner of a tempera painting. The use of vertical lines is prevalent throughout the painting. Also, there seems to be a luminosity to the painting where the man's and woman's faces seem to slightly glow as if there's a reflection from the sunlight. Wood did this by a complex method of applying glazes where you apply a layer of oil paint, allow it to dry, and then varnish it. This process would be repeated many times. Wood uses the house in the painting to paint a satire of modern American culture, which he perceived as somewhat a knockoff of the real thing. He thought the new form of American Gothic architecture was that it was showing that Americans were trying to be more dignified than they really were. He also painted satire by using symbolism, such as the sharp pitchfork and strict appearance of the figures, along with the Gothic window, which all suggest satire upon the Quaker-like man and the detailed window. Everything about the painting has been mined for a meaning, such as the loose curl of the woman's hair, which could represent that despite the painting's strict demeanor, the woman is not as uptight as she seems. Also, Wood's signature is hidden in the bottom right corner of the farmer's overall. When painting the people, Wood has mentioned that he imagined that who he painted were the people that he thought would have lived in the house, due to the closed window of the house that gave off a mysterious aura that could be hiding the secrets of the people who had lived there. Some people saw the painting as a way to celebrate the Midwestern culture, but Wood received criticism on his painting because many found his painting to be insulting to the simple life of hardworking people of the Midwest, especially during the tough economic times of the Great Depression. This was different to how Wood saw the painting, which was that his satire of small towns in the Midwest was funny. Wood, like other regionalist artists, seemed to have critiqued the oppressiveness of Midwestern culture in American Gothic more than the Midwestern people themselves. The tightly cropped painting shows the restrictive life in small-town America. The grim expressions on the models' faces could show their true feelings about their lives and their stifling lifestyle and culture. One of the biggest change Wood's American Gothic has given us is the regionalism style of painting. Wood is considered to be one of the founders of this style. Regionalism grew popular for a time after the American Gothic was created, with other artists becoming popular for their regionalist art. Wood's American Gothic was criticized for being insulting to small-town American culture and showcasing it as restrictive. This attitude towards small-town life still exists today, which can be seen in how big cities, such as San Francisco and New York City, are constantly growing in population, while rural, small towns are losing people. It also shows how there's been a shift from agricultural farming in small towns to moving to big cities. When Wood made the American Gothic, it was for a contest for the 1930 annual exhibition at the Art Institute of Chicago, where he won a bronze medal and a $300 prize. American Gothic made him famous for being an artist. Before American Gothic, Wood was an unknown 39-year-old artist, living in a funeral home carriage house's attic, which he shared with his mother and sister. After his painting of American Gothic, Wood often rewrote the meaning of his painting to best suit the given trend at the time. Now, American Gothic has come to be one of the most iconic American paintings to this day.